there's a new way to Sweet Green. Meet wraps. Handheld, hearty, and made for life on the move. With bold, chef-crafted flavors, fresh ingredients, and over 40 grams of protein, they're built to satisfy without slowing you down. Try wraps today in the app or at order.sweetgreen.com. Available at all participating locations.
Hello and welcome to episode 409
of the Filmmakers podcast.
This is a podcast where we talk
filmmaking
from indie films to studio films
to high-end TV
and
everything in between.
How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to
royally F them up in our
very, very
humble opinion.
Welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Giles Alderson.
Are you sure? Sort of stumbled through the name.
Did I? Yeah. I'm still Giles Alderson.
I'm Dom Lenoir.
And today on the show we have filmmaking duo, husband and wife team, Stephanie, Lynn and Bryden, Lando. And they have made the micro-budget indie film Aloha Also Means Goodbye. What do we chat about on this brilliant episode about getting a micro-budget film made?
We talked about doing literally everything yourself as a one-man or one-woman team. Mm-hmm. We talked about shooting somewhere where you know and pulling in all kinds of fantastic favours from a wide variety of your network to get those costs down.
We also talk about the important side of it as well, what are the important bits you have to do when you're making a micro-budget indie films, and the mistakes they made and the things they would do differently next time, but also the things that went extremely well. Bryden talks about how he directed this film and shot it and did the sound at the same time, but how he shot it on the Canon 5D Mark III, and also how important it is. Stephanie talks about how important it is to have your deliverables in place and getting a trailer made by a trailer professional.
We also talked about getting in there early with post-production and also music rights.
All this coming up for you on this week's episode of
the Filmmakers podcast.
Aloha Also Means Goodbye is available now.
As our unofficial sponsor, it is on Just Watch. You can find out which country, which territory, which platform.
Yes, so go to justwatch.com or find the app, download the app. I love Just Watch, by the way, our unofficial sponsor of today's episode. Thank you, Stephanie.
Along with the letter E and the number 5.
Aloha, which also means goodbye. Great film, great indie filmmakers, really super to have.
Every time the title is mentioned, like I don't know if you're saying the title or if you're explaining the title, it's like a cycle that never ends.
It never ends. Aloha also means goodbye. There you go. Yeah. This is Bryden's debut movie as a feature film director. Stephanie has starred in so much TV along her way, as well as many, many indie films. Some of those credits include Perfect Couples, Castle, How I Met Your Mother, and Rubber Room. The feature films include Dirty People, Little Black Lie, and Soulmates, which she was also the exec producer and writer of. How are we doing? Are we good?
Pretty melty, but due to the wonderful advancements of AI, so Giles says, we're allowed to have our fans on now when we do episodes.
Yes, because I use a platform called Orphonic, which helps me with the sound. When after I've edited it, I put it through Orphonic, and it pulls out any background sounds or a lot of background sounds like clicking or the mic tapping. Or what have you been doing this week, Dom?
Melting.
I know.
All melting. I decided I'm going to start walking to the Lido rather than driving to the Lido, because I end up driving all the time at the moment. So that's the concession. But it's like the desert scorched earth, walking through the unshaded hills past
The unshaded hills.
Past Muswell Hill,
London.
In like 30-degree heat, it's quite a savage walk actually. It's a pretty good incline. So it's been tough. It's tough to get that exercise in, but rewarding when you get to the Lido and get to swim with all the flies and tumbleweeds and other exciting memorabilia.
That's great. It's nice to know about your health side of life. What about filmmaking?
Yeah.
Since this is a filmmaking podcast.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's important. Script writing, that's always fun when you have to pull apart a script, which is a bit like pulling apart yourself / throwing acid in your eyes. I don't know. It's in that territory. Yeah, it's tough. It's very tough. And when things start to make sense and you sort of get a grasp on it, it's quite satisfying. But before then, when it's like chaos and carnage, it's quite a stressful thing to go through.
I think it's very stressful when you're screenwriting that way. But you're doing it on your own as well, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I've got friends helping, but it's
yeah, but it's your script.
But yeah, I am. Yes, I'm doing the physical script writing.
Physical script writing. You see, I'm at the moment I'm writing with Toby on something.
Yeah,
and it's just I feel so much better bouncing back and forth because you can get into that place, like you're saying, where you just go, oh my god, I'm struggling.
Yeah,
and with someone else, they just go, it's all right, let's go through it. That'll do.
You can hold hands on the left hand and his right hand, and then the other hand, you've got two hands for the keyboard. There's a metaphor for you.
That's a really good one. I think that should go on a poster or a t-shirt. Well, should we get to it then? Because that's what the listeners have come to hear, not just about your swimming techniques, your prowess, but also how to make feature films. And this time it's an absolute belter. The trials and tribulations of shooting a feature film with pretty much a one-man team on camera and pretty much a two-man team in total. This is the story of Stephanie, Lynn, and Bryden, Lando, chatting to myself and Dom.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great. How about you?
Very good, thanks, Bryden. Very good indeed.
Good to meet you.
This is my office here. It's detached from our house, but she's just right inside the other building there. So.
Oh, nice. We call that a man shed in England.
Yes, it is very much my man shed. Hence the Star Wars memorabilia.
I know.
Surfboards and things
and
like
some
that.
Skateboards. I like that. I used to. That's kind of how I got into film through skateboarding. So.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
started
nice.
with skate films and went into making dramas.
Oh, that's great. I did a bit of that, but in the surf world.
Ah, nice.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Lovely to meet you both.
Great to meet you.
You as
Nice
well.
to meet you.
Yeah.
We've actually been fans of yours since your appearance on the Indie Film Hustle podcast. So that's where we discovered you. And I think if it wasn't for the Indie Film Hustle podcast, our film probably wouldn't have happened. So huge shout outs to Alex Ferrari there. We love that guy.
Yeah, and your podcast.
And your podcast.
Yeah, no, but that's all. We're all friends together because it's all what we.
Yeah.
Same reason why we do it is to help other filmmakers. So if filmmakers listen to that one and get something from it, they listen to this one and get something from it, then listen, that's great. That's what it's about.
It's refreshing to hear, isn't it? It's definitely
it is. But I love Alex. He's great. He's in our documentary as well. That hopefully will be coming out reasonably soon. So yeah, he's a
great
top guy. So yes, no, thank you for that. That means a lot, and it's nice that filmmakers out there, that actually go out and make stuff, do learn from the pod or get something from it, and that's like I say, it's what it's about, which is cool, which is very nice.
It really is.
So well done on the film. Really cool work. I just really enjoyed the sort of can-do attitude of it. I enjoyed the performances a lot. I enjoyed the moments in it, and I thought it was really well made. Because it sounds like it was one kind of person or a very small team as well. Certainly looking at IMDb and looking at the credits. So yeah, we can get into all that. Are you two? You're a couple. You're married.
We are.
We actually got married in between shooting this film. We shot some before we got married and some after. And
can we tell the difference?
Where did you get married? If I had to guess,
Maui.
Yay!
I mean, you couldn't really get anywhere better, could you?
You can't. No. We actually were thinking on our wedding night if we should try to grab a quick shot that we needed.
So we're trying to do some B-roll and pickups on our wedding night.
We didn't end up doing it. We gave ourselves the night, but we're like, the shot.
Yeah, you should have done. That's how dedicated you were, and I love that. How long a period did you film it for? Did you have a schedule? Did you go, right, this is what we're sticking to? Or was it a case of, like, say, let's just get married in between? How long did it take?
COVID threw us for a loop. That was a big part of the delay in post. So yeah, that was a factor for sure. But in the beginning, getting in the can, we were very organized, and she did amazing on the line production. So yeah, we
did have some surprise delays though, because our other lead actor, Evan Gamble, who, we were very committed to working with him because he and I we were in a band together and we toured together a little bit back in the day. So we knew that Evan would be a great, as well as being a great actor and a great talent, he is just a really easygoing person and easy to work with, down for, improvising in a moment and all of that. And he and I had to crash on crazy couches on our tour. And so we figured, okay, he's going to tolerate this process. So we were really committed to working with him, but he booked a show when we originally had all of our flights booked and everything ready to go. So we had to change and push back. I think it was about 4 months and rebook everything. So that set us back and closer to our wedding date.
Wow.
And so, yeah, and then we ended up thinking later when we got into post that we needed to add some things, one of which was the character of Alice. We felt like she needed a little more likability. And so we had just had our son. And so he plays baby Tabitha.
In the very first shot.
Very first scene.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a very convenient pickup.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
You just stay there with the baby. 1 minute, I'm just going to get the camera. There we go. Right, let's get this shot.
So, I mean, you mentioned the band and the touring. I mean, it feels like it's a very personal story. Can you talk about how the ideas of this sort of came together and what inspired? Because it's a charming indie and it feels very sort of lived in and it feels very real and it feels very plausible.
I'll let her talk about the sort of inception of the idea, but it was largely inspired by, we were watching a lot of films like things like the Polish brothers were doing, the Duplass brothers, and a lot of that indie DIY, and some of those ones that were shot on similar cameras. And so that was sort of the model, was small film, a small cast, contained with minimal locations, although we ended up using a lot of locations, and that's where the island of Maui came in as a big character and a driving part of the story.
And locations that you can access. So we thought, we were living in LA, and trying to film anything in LA is really challenging because everybody's onto you. You can't really be walking around with a camera and get away with it. Whereas if you shoot in a different place where people get excited about, they're making a movie, they're really supportive of that. So I had actually just done a movie back where I grew up in Vermont. And so Bryden really wanted to make something in Maui. So that was a key. So we had that piece to the story. And then we thought, okay, what else do we need? And he didn't think he could direct me in a romantic role with where there's a lot of, physical things, and which I agreed. And I said, I'm not really ready to do that with you either as director. So we thought, how could we guide the story to be, okay, what if she's married? So then it would be taboo for them to hook up, and we can have that tension throughout of will they, won't they? But, maybe we end up hooking up at some point. You'll have to watch to find out. But it's not throughout the entire film, and it's not grotesque for my poor almost husband as the director to have to direct that.
Yes, to sit through that. Yes, it can be very challenging. It's right. And that's really interesting. You said you thought about that. And you said, well, actually, let's find the story that works for us as well. So it isn't awkward or difficult or as difficult. It still can be, because you're still, portraying
awkward and difficult.
Because you're portraying the fact that you might really fancy or like or love someone else from past, and that's still difficult to watch or film at the same time and do. So that's a challenge in itself, which must be interesting. But also the fact that you've gone, it doesn't matter. This is a story, and it's acting. And we're telling this story.
Well, underneath it all was this really relatable theme that we came up with before anything, is what if you had a second chance with the one that got away? So I think that
loosely based on a friend of mine and her story. but now it's much more relatable to me now that I do have a kid, and I don't really have the bandwidth to be touring around with a band, sleeping on couches. No. And the film makes me cry because I'm making myself cry because I can relate to it on a much deeper level than I actually could when we were writing it and making it. It was actually based on other people, and now I feel it much deeper.
Yes. What was the reason for making the movie in the first place? Obviously, you've come up with an idea that works, but also, why make a movie? It's so difficult, especially for no money, a micro budget. You're thinking, hey, we're going to just do this in Maui, your home, I suppose, Bryden as well. It's somewhere from your home. But why make a movie? What was the impetus to go, hey, we're just going to go do this?
Well, I think for myself, I started in film school right when I moved from Maui to California. I was studying film. I did a couple years, got hired as a PA on a big studio feature, worked in film for a little while, and then detoured. It just seemed very unattainable to actually get my own film made. So I had about a decade of other jobs and another career in fashion and art and all kinds of things. During that time, I was shooting a lot. So I still stayed busy behind the camera and making content and different projects. But the whole thing was, how are we actually going to get a feature film in the can? Because we really want to complete a feature film. So that's when we were listening to all these podcasts, especially the Indie Film Hustle. I was listening to that from almost the very beginning of the podcast starting. So we were just hearing these very inspirational stories of how to get these DIY films done. And we just said, we were on a road trip and said, why don't we just do this? Because a lot of my other scripts and treatments I've written were a little higher concept and higher budget, and there's no way anybody's going to give me $20 million to make a feature. So why don't we just do it ourselves? Because as Mark Duplass said, the cavalry isn't coming. And I think that was one of the pivotal moments for me, hearing that. What
were some of the cost implications of shooting in Maui? Because I mean my interpretation from friends in California, Hawaii is, any of the islands are wildly expensive. Getting a rental car is like, a few £1,000s just to get your wheels underneath you. So I'd be interested in, you've obviously come up with the idea, it's personal to you. What were some of the pieces in figuring out the plausibility of some of those costs and where you could get maybe people involved and helping, and how you could kind of make that achievable?
Well, we had these Hawaiian Airlines credit cards for years because
and why not?
We would go back to Hawaii a lot since Bryden grew up there to visit, and so we started accumulating flyer miles, and we had all of these points, so we were able to fly all of the people that we needed to fly basically for free, with our miles on Hawaiian Airlines. And then we booked some places to stay. We booked some Airbnbs or VRBO, but we knew Bryden could kind of navigate where to do that because he knew people there. And then we had friends that had houses that we could shoot at, and friends that lived there that the character Gaia is a friend that, Bryden had known for years. She's an amazing musician. And so we brought her in to be in it, and we cast some other local Hawaiian people in Maui to be in the film and to also just help us out as crew. So we made it affordable. A lot of it was so guerrilla that made it affordable. I mean, we didn't pay a lot for a lot of. We're
not going to pay for this thing, and it's free.
Basically, and we had so many friends that were so sweet helping us out. It really was a team effort. And just people offered up their business locations, their home locations, and all of that. And we couldn't have been luckier in that sense.
It's such a great idea. The idea of using what you have or what you've got sort of at your fingertips. And you've also chosen somewhere that happens to be unbelievably picturesque, stunning. It has like a seriously romantic vibe about it as well. I mean, it's a really good sort of combination of all those things. And I suppose, you know, what were you focusing on the money that you did have on? What were some of the key things that you were thinking? Okay, well, we've got all these, we've got some of these locations, we've got this covered. Like, what are some costs that we can't avoid that we really feel are important for the production?
Feeding people.
Yep.
You have to eat
that, and then also equipment, because I just outright bought everything I needed to buy. So there was no rentals. I still own it. Everything. It's a bit antiquated now, but yeah, it worked for the time.
How did you budget then? So, all right, let's just sort of jump back to that moment where you go, right, we're going to make a film. We're going to shoot in Maui because we know it. We can get favors. At that point, had obviously maybe got the idea, but maybe we'll come back to scripting it in a minute. But in terms of you thinking about, okay, how much have we got? How much can we afford to pay? How are we going to think about post? Was that going through your mind? And did you do a mini budget? Did you do any kind of, let's just think a minute before we dive headfirst into how we're going to make the movie, but also costing it as well?
We definitely did think about it. We just had no idea what we were really getting ourselves into, I think, at that point. We had all these grandiose ideas of being able to do things for much less than in the end we were able to, as far as the post-production process. I think we were able to map out and pull so many favors that we got the production in the can for about 10 grand. And that was what we planned. That went kind of along with the budget we had planned out. And then when it came to post, then we started asking questions about, okay, do we pull in an editor? Because that's somebody's job. We don't have someone on our team already who is going to do that for free. So, but in the end, you know, Bryden ended up doing a lot of that to cut costs, but we brought in a great guy to do the first string out, and that was hugely helpful, and he was amazing. But then the music. And we had this idea, okay, we'll just do placeholder music and we'll do the festivals, and then we'll get a big distributor who's going to give us money, and then we can pay for the music. Right. So that was our hope. And so we didn't really have a budget for that. It was just let's cross our fingers and see what happens for those things. And then, you know, we realized, okay, that didn't really work. And because now there's just not really a lot of upfront money from distributors for a film that doesn't have big stars. And that just is what it is for the current climate. And so we had to adapt. And so it was tough having this placeholder music that we'd fallen in love with at that point. And, you know, Bryden had put a Fred Again song in the movie.
Yeah, there was this artist called Fred Again at the time. He had about 1,000 followers on Instagram. Yeah, I was a huge fan of all his self-release things, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna DM this guy, see if I could use him. I'll get to it. Next thing I know, he's headlining Coachella last year. I'm like, okay, probably can't use his song anymore.
So we had to replace that one.
Yeah, you're like, listen, I was going to message you about a year ago where you would have been cheap. So could we possibly get through this area?
We go back to the cheapness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good lesson, right? Just ask when at the time. Why not? Because if he had at the time said, sure, we would have, that would have been amazing. But we shouldn't have waited to figure it out later.
Yeah, it's a really good lesson, isn't it, for filmmakers? Yeah. Don't wait. And that's what I still, even though that might have been a small mistake, the fact is you didn't wait to make your movie. You went and made your movie. And that's really important. You could have gone, oh, well, we don't have this, or we don't have the kit. We don't have this. And the fact that you just went, oh, I'm going to go buy it and I'll use it later. It'll come in use in some way. And that's what's important to do. Again, with that, did you think about your budgeting of what you could afford, or were you kind of like, look, I want to make a feature, so I am going to do this from my money I've earned from my work? And you're also having a baby and getting married. It's all those kind of things in the middle of that as well that cost money. And you're going, oh, well, let's go make a feature in the middle of it all, which is just, wonderful madness. But that's what we want to know. It's like, how exciting, how incredible to do, but how? did you budget that?
Yeah, I think we were dead set on getting it in the can. And that's really what we budgeted for. So we weren't planning on anything for post, really.
We figured we'll do a GoFundMe. We'll do we'll go, hit up all of the producer friends that we know that we've worked with in the past, see if we can pull in any investors to do post. We figured we'll deal with that when it happens. I think we were in the mindset of a little bit of the La La Land Before You Get Married, where everything seems possible.
Same with film, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
when you make the film, everything's possible. Then you make a film, it's like, this is actually hard.
Right,
really
exactly.
Yeah.
But we also made the choice that we weren't going to have a super expensive big wedding, and because we said we would rather make a movie and start our lives together as creative filmmakers. And we'd done music videos before together, and we'd done other projects that we always worked really well together. And so we were just excited about, let's just do it. Let's just get a great start to our lives. So we did the honeymoon as making a film.
Do you know what, though? That's still, because there's nothing more that's going to either bring you together or get at each other's loggerheads is making a movie, because so much goes into it. It's so stressful. It's so hard. It's not just, okay, just stand over there and let's film this. It's, okay, how do we stand over there? How do I film this? Where do I get? Do we have permissions? Do we have this? Oh, the rain's coming in. This is happening. So many things can go wrong when you're doing it that they're out of your control, and you just never know. And I still love the fact that you're going, sod it, we wanted to do this. And that's inspirational for any of our filmmakers out there, is you can do this. And you did it with Aloha Also Means Goodbye, and it's fantastic. You also, Stephanie, made Soulmates before this as well, as an exec producer, writer, and lead. What was the differences for you between the two? What did you learn from that movie that you brought into Aloha Also Means Goodbye?
There were a lot of differences. That I think that with that one, my writing partner Alexandra and I, we ended up selling the film to a production company, and then we miraculously they wanted us to be in it, which was unexpected and fun. And I think they loved the story that we were real life best friends and we were really from Vermont. And so that was a big piece of it. But once we made that decision to say, yes, we want you to make our movie, we gave them the reins and over control. And we didn't have any say in really who the director was or how they wanted to direct it. They decided they wanted to really gear it to be a family film. And none of those decisions involved us anymore. We weren't involved in the casting. We weren't involved in any of the post-production. And so that felt really hard, because you write this thing and you have this vision in your head, and then, oh, okay, here, somebody else is going to do. And I still, I don't know how the numbers are doing. And there's just this really relinquishing of control. And so this film, I think Bryden and I decided that we really wanted to be able to guide the vision through to the end. And so, of course, Bryden's the one actually making the vision visually, but I really trust him, and I knew what kind of film he was going to make, and I was excited about that. And I love Soulmates. It's just a completely different type of movie. And I didn't sit in the meetings with the distributors. Like so this was a much, much more of a learning process for me, because in this film, I was the makeup artist and the music supervisor. And so I learned so much. This was a really valuable experience. I feel like I could do any job on a film now.
Yeah.
It was certainly trial by fire, but I would highly recommend everybody do this as hard as it was. If you can come up with something that's small and it's possible to shoot.
Talking about the vision that you mentioned there, because I think that's a really interesting point of going from the vision to actually going into production. What were some of the changes from the script, maybe that you went from, okay, I want to do it this way, this is what I'd like to do, this is where I'd like to shoot, this is who I'd like to involve. We've mentioned the music, which is a fascinating thing on the post side, but I'd love to know what the production side, maybe some of those compromises or happy changes that happened whilst you were out shooting.
I feel like that's you, Mr. Director.
Being a good husband.
Like
you just told me where to stand.
No, I had such a good idea. I know that island like the back of my hand. So I knew there were all these just beautiful locations that would add huge production value that are, there's nobody there. We could just go shoot. So I wasn't really worried about, like, as far as the locations, everything went pretty much as planned. We stole a lot of things where there were, like public, but that all went fine. We just it was very guerrilla. We would just have to wait. And
what about maybe lighting? Lighting was always challenging.
Yeah, it was that was a bit, but I love natural light. And that I knew how I wanted it aesthetically in Hawaii, and I wanted to shoot it as naturally as possible. So we used as little light as possible, except for some of the nighttime shots. So yeah, I just I worked with the light, whatever the clouds were doing. I had to stay on my toes for that. But I think when you're in the moment and you just you accept that you're going to have to be flexible, you get better things than you thought, better things than you planned for sometimes, a lot of happy accidents. So I just, I sort of trusted that we were going to find moments and find some beautiful scenery. We didn't have time to location scout or anything like that. We just, okay, here it is. Let's go shoot it. We're shooting car scenes on the way to the next location, things like that, just picking up B-roll constantly. Like wherever we went, I was shooting B-roll. Like, okay, Evan, you drive, or Steph, you drive. I'm going to shoot B-roll out the window, or, oh, we got to stop on the side of the road here. I got to shoot some more B-roll.
I mean, was that something about being really inventive? Because cars, on a Hollywood production, cars are like a nightmare, like, or even a sort of an indie where you're trying to do things at the semi-Hollywood level. Like there's lots of costs in mounting cameras. I mean, it sounds like you've kind of found solutions in that kind of territory.
We didn't shoot audio while moving in the car. We had a little where Evan is getting into the car. We shot a little scene getting into the car, and then it was just B-roll from me in the back seat, shooting towards them in the front. But yeah, we didn't actually plan for extensive car scenes.
It's a massive challenge.
Yeah, exactly.
No process trailer in our budget.
No, none of that. No, yes. How just run me through how many people were on set then? So let's say you're doing a scene with your two leads, and it's a scene down by, I don't know, the beach, or it's with just the two of them, or it's up on the rocks. How many crew members did you have with you?
Well, this was the crazy part, and I didn't know if this was going to work getting into it. Okay. I concocted this rig. I actually had an audio mixer bolted on underneath my camera, so I'm operating camera,
right,
as well as mixing audio ahead of time. I had two lavs on the.
Wow,
that's insane. Yeah.
I had two lavs.
Why do we have
balloons? We just had
some
balloons.
Yeah, that just came up. Celebrate you for doing that.
I haven't figured out this Apple monitor. It does these things from time to time, and it just throws in these emojis.
Just gave us some balloons for that.
Yes.
So I had an external mic on top of the camera, and then two lavs always going on the actors, and then I was trying to mix. They were on separate channels, so I could still mix. I could still separate up, so everything wasn't mixed together, but I could kind of balance it before I started rolling. And
so crew wise, then it just you,
me.
One.
Just,
I'm holding up a finger.
Wow.
So you did.
So
everything.
For a lot of those scenes, insane, it was just Bryden.
Yeah.
And then we would have, for certain things, we'd have other friends holding up the light, or but that was usually if it was a scene with more people. If it was a Gaia and Evan scene, then I was the other crew member.
Mm-hmm. She was slating.
If it was something with just me, then Evan was the crew member, and he was always down to hold a light.
Did you struggle with sound shooting by the beach? I mean, that's because that's like a classic issue is wind. Anything by the sea, anything by water. Which there is plenty of.
Yeah, we had waterfalls.
Party
so
scenes.
we did have to do a fair amount of ADR, which we kind of assumed we were going to have to do. And we were so lucky. We had an amazing wizard sound engineer that came in and did all of our post, Matthew Nelson, Chord Productions. And he and Evan have actually recorded a lot of music together. So, and I recorded a little bit of music with Matt as well, as background vocals for Evan. So I'd met him before. He's the nicest guy. And he somehow was able to, create some pretty good sound out of terrible sound. But then we did have to do some ADR. Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Would you recommend to anyone to film the way you did with that rig?
No, it was out of pure necessity. Don't ever do that.
That was because I think that was one of our big takeaways that we were going to share, is that we would for sure hire a sound person for any future and just budget for that, because it wasn't worth it. It ends up costing more having to do all the ADR.
I mean, we could just cut this bit of the episode out and we can end where he's talking about mixing and filming at the same time and making it look like a superhero.
Unbelievable. Because I've shot on a documentary I did, so I could get away with it a little bit with two people talking back to it, and I'm walking over a ridiculously muddy field and I'm controlling the sound and the camera and focus at the same time. It's a documentary. You can kind of get away with it if I spill the camera back a little bit or the sound's a little bit dodgy. We can get away with it. You guys can't. And it was great what you did. It really is very impressive. This is a one-person rig to do this. And again, I know you're all helping out and you're doing this as a team. And that must have been incredible. How was those moments then when, like teamwork, when something does go wrong? Because when you're on a bigger set, there's more people around to sort of help or guide or sometimes get in the way. When it's just the 2-3 of you, is it a kind of case of, okay, well, we can't shoot here anymore because of this. Let's work together as a team to do this. How did you get through the difficult times is what I'm saying.
I mean, it really was a family affair. Everybody involved in the project, we knew they were all going to be of a certain mindset. Everybody in Hawaii, all the local Hawaii cast and crew were so laid back, and that's kind of our mentality as
island time.
I imagine so. Yeah.
Yeah. And but Evan was such a trooper,
such a rock star.
We had
at one point he'd be like, "Guys, I really need to work out one of these days. Can I please go to the gym?"
No, you have to hold a light. That's your workout. You hold, hold a reflector.
Yeah. Such a good sport. But there were moments where, and there were some tough moments where Evan and I, being used to a lot of bigger sets where there's a lot going on. There's people getting you a water bottle. There's a director working with you. And then there's people setting up the shot. Bryden's setting up the shot. So he couldn't necessarily work with us as actors sometimes. And he finally had to tell us, if I'm not saying anything, it means you guys are doing great. Just keep going, because we were getting insecure. Are we bad? Do we look bad? We'd check each other. Do I have anything on my face? And it was a kind of an uncomfortable experience as an actor in a way. But then we just got into the flow of it. And once we saw some of the dailies, and I think his mind was put at ease. Oh, this looks really beautiful. I'm just going to trust Bryden and just show up and be in the scene, and we'll just go with the flow. And we got into it. And being in Maui for sure helps, because it is just that environment of this flow lifestyle. And it was, hard not to be able to just go chill in Maui while we were shooting.
Yeah.
But
can we get this shot in a minute? I just want to chill here for a bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How many days? Yeah, exactly. How many days did you film for? Or was it, talk us through your shooting schedule? Was it over a period of time? Did you have a solid I don't know, 15 days, 30 days. I don't know how long you shot for or how over a period of time. Yeah. Run us through your sort of shooting schedule, how you'd navigate life as well within that.
There wasn't much life in the shooting in between. We scheduled a pretty intensive, I think we had eight days that we were going to be in Maui, and just the three of us, Evan, myself, and Bryden. We were all staying together in a condo, so we could use the condo as a location. And we tried to give Evan some downtime, because a lot of the stuff, Bryden figured out this way of shooting a lot of it that was from Evan's POV.
Yeah.
So then it could just be me. So it was just Bryden and I for a couple of the days doing a lot of running around and shooting B-roll, so that Evan could have a break and, be a normal person slightly for a second. But it was a lot of really long days, and everyone had to be a good sport. And, we'd end up at the end of the day at the Maui Brewing Company bar. And it was really fun, but it was a lot. And those were intensive days that we scheduled, and we scheduled our group stuff to shoot people out so we could get everybody done in one day or 2 days as much as possible. So most of it would just be the three of us, because it's much easier to maneuver 3 people than 10 people. So we did shoot some things back in Los Angeles, because we had a lot more friends that we could call on to be free extras. So we shot our party scene in a friend's house.
I see.
In terms of these long days, because that's really interesting, and you're being really economical with who's available on what day. But in terms of the actual day-to-day process with the core actors, are you doing any kind of planning? Are you doing read-throughs at night? The night before? Are you sort of going through lines? Was that side really rehearsed so that what you're shooting is, okay, we're just going out, we know what the scene is. Not much improvisation, not much changes. We're kind of working with the angle because this is the time we've got. Was it that kind of vibe, or was there a lot of kind of pre-planning and discussions?
I would say both, right? I mean, Evan and I were rehearsing scenes the night before while I was ironing the clothes, and he was doing planks on the floor. And
or on the way to another location.
Yeah, we'd be rehearsing lines in the car. He called them the panic planks, because he had to have his shirt off a lot.
He looked great, to be fair. He didn't need to worry. Yeah, he did look good.
So yeah, we would rehearse lines on the way, but then Bryden really did want us to throw it away once we were shooting.
Keep it natural.
We could.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the whole film is that's just my style inherently is I like the gritty, natural light, handheld aesthetic, and that's just that's my personal
what's your number one thing you always say as a director to your actors?
Do less.
Very nice.
So
yes,
that was my biggest reoccurring note, I believe. Was
Steph, you're great. Do less.
It's a good note, right? It's a good note. In terms of your, like you say, you liked the shots and the aesthetic of something, but you're also controlling sound. You're also thinking about being in focus. How did you manage to then think about performances and your shots in terms of framing at the same time? Because that's really tricky to do that. I have also done that in the past, and do you know what? When an actor said, "Hey, what did you think about that bit?" I had no idea, because I was making sure the frame was beautiful, whatever. It's really tricky to do all of it. How did you manage?
Did you manage?
I think that was by far my biggest challenge, and my biggest wish is that I could have given the actors more notes there, and then also more time to play and just more takes. But it was very much like, okay, we got that. We got to move on. We got to be on this side of the island because of the light at this time. So we were really on the move the whole time. And I wish I could have given them more time. But again, that all came down to budget. And, we had budgeted this exact amount of days. And I knew we couldn't miss anything, because if we missed a crucial scene during a day, then, it might have jeopardized the whole film. So if I did it again, I would just try to figure out a few more days to give the actors more playtime, because it was amazing what they did, and really tough on them.
Were there any scenes where you kind of didn't quite get what you needed, or you went a little bit over, or you had to go? I mean, you mentioned pickups a little bit with COVID, but I mean, in general, was there something you had to sort of go back to, or it didn't quite work what you'd shot?
Yeah, for sure. Some of the shots with some of the takes I wasn't as happy with. I had to get creative in the editing, so I was able to make it work in the edit, but it was tough with some scenes for sure. Yeah, I would have just liked to have more coverage at the end of the day, you know. So.
Yeah, I think a lot of the pickups were just because we intended to shoot more in Maui and ran out of time. And we really, you know, Evan had a flight back and we couldn't really extend our VRBO. So,
but we got the key scenes.
Luckily, Evan lived back in Los Angeles with us, so we could shoot more with him when we got back.
I see. So when you pick up, you pretend it was over there and do a quick shot or make it work. Okay.
Yeah, but we couldn't afford to fly the Hawaii people back, so we had to shoot everything with the cast there before we left. So that was always the priority stuff.
That's so interesting.
Also, we planned for guerrilla shooting in the airport to and from Hawaii.
Yep.
So she had to be in wardrobe and makeup both directions on our flight, because those were crucial scenes to
was that a worry? I mean,
I was going to say,
for sure.
How did you do, like, because basically for those who haven't seen the movie yet, they shoot in an airport. And go in, I don't know whether it's LA, but also in Hawaii. It seems like it's two different airports and on
LAX
the
and Maui.
So you shot in LAX and no one stole the equipment off you, literally went, how dare you, and wrestled you to the ground.
Yeah.
Talk us through how you did it. Did you make it look like you were travelers just shooting a little bit of fun behind the scenes? Talk us through your process. What would have happened if you hadn't have got it, and what you did to get those shots?
Well, yeah, and that was a huge part of why I knew we were going to have to steal a lot, and that's why I chose to shoot on kind of lo-fi equipment. So we shot it on, it was just before the big 4K revolution, so I was still on this Canon 5D Mark III.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like I knew the scenes where we weren't going to run audio, like LAX, when it's just her solo.
Yes.
I could just have the camera out with no mic or anything on top. And it was just, you know, it looked like I could have been shooting photos of my wife, but I was shooting her scenes. And
then we just ignored people's looks when he had me walk up and down the airport several times.
Yeah.
Really
so it's just an Instagram. Yeah, it's just an Instagram video. You see him doing it all the time now, but yeah, maybe it was just before COVID. There was a bit less of that. So
it was probably a little stranger back then. But yeah, I could have just been an Instagram celeb.
Yeah.
Getting my content for the day.
But if I had a big, like a red rig or something like that, we would have got flagged. So that's, you know, it's, I guess it's
ground.
Yeah, tackle to the ground. Is that, and the same thing on the aeroplane itself? Did you just go, there's no stewardesses, let's just shoot this? Yeah, looking out the window.
Booked a window seat, of course, so I could get those shots, and I could be right next to her, so there was nobody else next to us, so we could just do our thing in those two side seats there.
Yep. Ordered me a vodka.
Okay. Or a few, because we needed to do that scene a few times.
Yep.
If I'm wearing this costume both ways.
I think you must be good at it to have avoided having any, like, you know, there's always that like one annoying customer that's like, what are you guys doing?
There's always
or someone that gets too like official about things. And it sounds like you've kind of navigated that very well.
I don't think we got stopped by anyone. When we were shooting at the hotels, the night scenes where Evan and my character are sneaking into the pools, he was legitimately very nervous that we were going to get arrested.
Really?
And we were actually dodging security.
We were
dodging. And so I used to do that as a kid growing up. We used to go down to these luxury hotels down by the beach and pool hop and, like, you know, be in one jacuzzi, and then the security comes, and then we'd run to another one. Sometimes go from hotel to hotel, because there's this big long strip of hotels that all have beautiful pools. So we would just get chased by security, and it was just a fun thing we did as teenagers. So I kind of wanted to recreate that experience a little bit.
Nice.
But we were lucky. No arrests.
Yeah,
that sounds like amazing fun. Like what great childhood.
As well. Yes.
Oh yeah. He had a really tough childhood growing up in Maui.
Yeah, it sounds really, really tough. That's amazing. Did you always want to be a filmmaker from when you were young and running between pools and security?
Yeah, I think when I was when I even before high school, I was always a storyteller, I think, and that sort of translated to comic books. When I was younger, I always thought I was going to be a comic book artist, comic book writer, and then I got really interested in film through high school. So I knew I was going to want to study film when I got to school, and but I love different mediums of storytelling. So I still do a lot of art and other projects, but yeah.
After I go to bed every night, he basically watches a movie. He's such a cinephile. He loves watching. He knows so much about different directors.
I just love film.
And so he's taught me a lot, actually, because I definitely, sort of started in the acting realm and writing, but I couldn't tell you who directed what film. I couldn't tell you what camera is used. And he would always ask me when I'd get home from a commercial shoot, oh, what were they shooting on? And who's doing this? And I'd go, I don't know.
Just a camera.
So, but I'm glad he's woken me up to paying more attention. And I feel like I'm a much better filmmaker because of.
Yeah, and actress as well. If you know what lens size they've got on, well, that means how big your face is going to be on that screen and how big you should perform without having to ask or feel embarrassed. You can see it. You can see it says 35 or 75. You can see the difference, and you go, "Oh, I know now because I've sat in the edit," which is fascinating. And because you've been on some big TV shows like Castle, How I Met My Mother, all those kind of brilliant TV shows over your time. So next time you're on there, I'm sure you have already, but I'm sure you'll pay way more attention and look at the cameras they've got and what's happening there. They're fascinating.
I will, and I'll be offered to hold a light if they need it.
Yeah, exactly. They'll be like, no, we can't do that. It's illegal. Yeah, it's true though, isn't it? On a big film set.
You guys need any help?
Yeah, like
I've done everything.
Yeah, you're not allowed to move camera if it's not your job, are you? On a big movie set.
It's actually a nice feeling when you do have people that will just muck in on any job. Like it does bring everyone together when you're sort of on the bigger set. Sometimes it is very hierarchical, and it's great that you've got those tools around, but there isn't this like always the feeling of like everyone is here like to do any job, just to get the movie finished. And it is a fantastic kind of experience.
I completely agree, and I think it's so important to respect every single person's job, especially when you've done all those jobs. Like Bryden was saying, this is an important experience to have. Almost like working as a waiter in a restaurant. You learn so much about how to talk to people and about humanity, and just I don't know. I think everyone should work as a waiter in a restaurant in life. I think it would make a better society, and I think we would have a better filmmaking society if everybody did a guerrilla independent film like this. Because I now understand why being a music supervisor is a job. And people make a lot of money doing that job because it's a hard job and it takes a lot of time. And I spent a lot of time trying to chase down songs that we had to have and, stalking people and begging for songs. And then we found there's all these amazing catalogs now. And we found extreme music, which I highly recommend to anyone. They have amazing composers on there that you can get and they'll do deals for indie films. They'll give you a deal for your whole film. And so you can select all your music from there, or just some.
I was able to get a Johan Johansson song. He's one of my favorite composers, and that's in the film. And we got really lucky with the music, though. A couple of my favorite artists actually were willing to deal with us. We had Sayset, this French artist. We have one of his songs in the beginning, and then we were able, because of the publishing, she had to cover one of his songs, and that's in the end credits, but it came out beautifully. We really love that. And then one of my other favorite bands, Marabou State, they granted us a song as well. And it was so nice of artists like that to work with us on our tiny little budget.
Yes. And it's important that do you ask, right? Because if you don't ask, you don't get. And what you said before is if you had Instagrammed the artist before, he probably would have said yes, but because you didn't get it. And I think it's that thing about asking, right? If you ask and say, hey, look, we're doing something, do you want to be part of it? They can only say no. But if you don't ask, you don't get it. So it's so important indie filmmakers do that to try and get their movies. Otherwise, it's just really hard.
You will have to go back to Fred again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If we ever cross paths,
you would tell him. Yeah. So let's talk about the main takeaways from this then, in terms of making a movie pretty much as a one-man band, though in this case I feel like it's a two-person band, and it's also maybe a third involved here as well. What's the main takeaways? What are the things that you go, if you were going to do this again, what would you do?
Definitely hire a sound person.
Okay.
For the entire for shooting.
Just the very, very crucial positions, that being one of them. That's something I would agree. You plan for that. But that being said, the equipment is so much better than when we shot back then. So if I had the equipment I have now back then, even just the updates on the Canon, you can shoot in 8K now, so I could have had the exact same looking camera and, could have shot crazy high def. So now more than ever, I'd say is a time to just go make your film. Just go figure it out, figure out a story and a theme that's, that relates to people, and just go tell your story. 'Cause there's no excuse not to, with the equipment available these days.
Yeah. And then I would also say just not to wait and have fear, because I think we were worried for a long time that because it wasn't shot on 4K, that we weren't going to be able to get a distributor and that no one would be interested in putting our film out there. And so we kind of sat on it for a while, and then we just decided, you know what, why not? And an indie filmmaker friend of mine connected us with this awesome producer rep who, sort of a domestic sales agent guy, Circus Road Films. And he said, this is a great film. I would love to take this out. And I think we kind of needed that outside person to say, this is a great movie. Why are you guys worried about taking it out there? And so then we said, well, it's not 4K. We don't know. And he said, oh, that doesn't matter. And so that was like, oh, whoa, okay. So, we waited and we sat on it for this time, just worried about nothing. And I think that happened a lot during this process. And I think happens a lot when you're doing something new, right? Fear stops you a lot. And so I would say just keep going, just do it. Just keep asking, keep putting it out there. So that I would do that differently next time. Just ignore the fear and the doubt as much as possible.
Feel the fear and do it anyway, as they
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Finally, in terms of contracts and distribution and getting it out there, obviously it has now, and it's coming back. And you did make it for very little money. You said 10 grand originally, but obviously your time and effort and everything. Of course, it's more than that. And the extras and the bits and pieces and the deliverables you've got to do, which are endless, and they never seem to stop. Just quickly, how did you manage that? And also in terms of distribution, and now coming back to you now the film is out there, how are both of those working for you? So we'll start with deliverables. How was that?
That was a daunting process. But our distributor, Random Media, they have a really awesome guy who oversees the whole deliverable process. And he gave us a checklist, and he was really, really helpful with answering any questions that I had. I basically plugged away at the deliverable list. Bryden did a lot of the technical stuff and making all the stills and the, exporting everything and doing all that. But I did most of the deliverable list while my son was napping.
Oh, bless you.
over many months. But it was a process. Again, a good learning experience. But I was really grateful to have a really helpful distributor. I think they understand that a lot of people, might be their first time doing a deliverable list. So they were really kind about it.
And from that deliverables list and all the stuff that was a nightmare and it took you months, what things from that would you do earlier, or would you do anything to help you with the next film?
Now at McDonald's, a McDouble is $2.50, so you can get your gym gains on, or just get lunch for only $2.50. Get more value on the under $3 menu.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
I would get a professional trailer, somebody professional to cut the trailer, because I think that I would do that right away. I think that improved. I feel fine crafting the story in the edit on a large scale, like in the actual feature, but I am by no means a trailer editor, and I would say hire a professional immediately for that, because he did a job that was 100 times better than what I had. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, I actually want to see this movie.
It's such a specific job, trailer editing. And, you've basically got, you've got your poster, you've got your trailer, and then that's the two selling assets for your film.
Yep.
So that's literally the thing that's going to make everyone go and see the film. And it is such a different medium to like normal narrative editing, and a lot of people think, oh, we'll just do the trailer ourselves, or we'll just have a quick go and it'll be fine. But that's literally how you're going to get your money back, is through the trailer. So it's such a good thing to spend the money on. Sure.
Yeah. I would say I thought that I was very organized when we were filming, but when I got to the deliverable list, I realized that I was missing a lot of location agreements. I hadn't gotten Bryden to sign anything as the director, and stupid, but I needed that paperwork for our chain of title. So I ended up having to do a lot of stuff and track a couple people down, and that was a lot of work. So definitely have your physical notebook on set with you with the papers, and make sure every single person signs that's in it. Every location you have somebody sign, and just that's what I would say next time I would be really on that. And I would also just make sure, even if it was a friend that's on set, even if it's Evan when he's not filming, do behind the scenes stuff, because we're realizing now, man, we really don't have that stuff, and we would love that for promotion. And I know a lot of people will hire somebody just to do that, and of course that's something else to budget for, but it's so easy now with an iPhone, but we just weren't thinking about it.
Well, look, if you go back to Maui and you need a behind the scenes person, I think we'll both be more than happy to join.
Exactly.
I know, we should have realized that.
We'll film on the plane as well. We'll film on the plane. We'll take the risk.
Yeah.
Promise. We'll make it look
Business
like we're a new couple. Just filming each other in the airport as we go. Yeah.
I love it.
And finally on distribution then, in terms of, you said, with Random Media and getting it out there, and what is the process for you guys now to try and earn some money back, or in terms of for the next film, what's happening there on that side of it?
We are navigating that right now. We're definitely in the thick of figuring out. We're not really sure, because they have in-house PR, so we're figuring out kind of how that's going to go. We might bring in some of our own people. We're deciding that right now. It's like, oh, should we spend more money? But it probably would be worth it, maybe, but you never know. So yeah, we're navigating that right now. We'll have to let you know about that piece of it. But really, I think, we ultimately wanted to do this as a calling card for, this is what we could do with nothing. So especially for Bryden as a director, he directed this with this, he was a Superman with that rig. And imagine if somebody trusted him to make a film with a little bit of help, what he could do. So we weren't really going into it trying to make a ton of money. Of course, we would be happy if we made our money back. So we're just trying to do as much grassroots promotion as we can, connecting with Maui friends to help promote it. We're going to do some giveaways with some friends that have companies in Maui. We're just trying to do some. We want to maybe do some travel podcast. We thought that could be an interesting angle.
Yeah, that's a good.
So yeah, we're just getting started on that journey.
Nice. Yeah, so I think you just have to get creative with the subject matter or theme of your film, and then look for avenues of promotion that might be relevant. I think we took a lot of that from Alex Ferrari's
Film Rise of
podcast, and his book, which was really and that was really helpful.
I wish we had done some more official partnerships doing this film. I wish we had maybe with
sponsorships
that could help with cross promotion. I think that now in this process I'm seeing, oh wow, that would have been really helpful if we had thought about that a little bit more.
If you have an angle for a sponsorship going in, we just happen to be drinking Maui Bruco beers during a lot of the shooting.
I thought it was a sponsor.
We have it. They weren't. It's actually my favorite beer. So it's and then
but they're not an official sponsor. But if they had been, maybe we would have that.
We would have hit.
Not yet.
Well, we would have hit them up in the beginning, but now they actually sponsored our film screening we did here in LA.
From their event, and they've been really wonderful. But we were like, oh, we should have put this in place long before,
or pitched them as a location to use. Their there's so many angles we would think of now going in versus then, but. That's what this was, a learning experience.
And a brilliant one. But you've given our lovely audience so much information there and tips as well if they're about to go do theirs. Because it's true. Those things you just said are so important. And that's what it's about, isn't it? Passing that elevator back down, as we always say, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So would you do it again?
Yes, absolutely. We're sort of working on another idea that I'm writing and that he'll direct, which we're excited to do slightly more elevated with bringing in a couple more people for sure. But we have another idea that we're working on, and then we're both working on separate scripts. I have a couple Christmas movies floating around right now.
I gravitate more to the thriller suspense genre. She gravitates more to the romantic comedy. So it was fun to come together and do something that was, well, for me in the beginning, I never thought this would be my first feature as subject matter, but we did just want to tell a really honest story, and myself as a love letter to the place that raised me. It was a really wonderful film for me to do, but I'm having fun writing a completely different genre right now. But we do have another film we're working on together that might be a good collaborative effort that is attainable. And we wouldn't do it for this budget, but I think we could get crafty and
and we might call on some of our friends that are a little bit bigger stars, because I don't really want to be in it again.
It's hard work, isn't it? Yeah, starring in it, producing it, writing music.
It's a lot.
Music supervising, it's a lot. But yeah, that's good. But even if you do, you'll know how to do it again next time, and you'll learn from it in some way. Brilliant.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure.
You as well.
This has been amazing. Congratulations on the film Aloha Also Means Goodbye, which is available now on Google Play, I believe, in the UK, but it's also available around the world. Do you want to just give us a few places where people can watch this?
Yeah, so it's on Amazon. In a lot of places around the world. There's this app or website called Just Watch. Have you guys seen that
Just
one?
Watch. Yeah, like that.
And you can enter your country, and it will tell you where you can see it. So I was kind of looking at that last night. It's in Australia. It looks like most of the larger countries you can watch the film on either Google Play or Tubi or Filmzy or Amazon. But different countries, different ones. So I was go to Just Watch.
Sponsored by Just Watch.
Yes,
what?
Exactly.
Sponsored by Just Watch.
I know. Sorry, I keep plugging all these things.
It's all good.
I know them. I just found.
You should get a kickback from them.
Yeah, you should. Listen, well done. Excellent. Please, everyone, go support Aloha Also Means Goodbye. It is a fantastic indie film made by two brilliant people with love, heart, and they've got out there and made the film. And if this doesn't inspire you to do the same yourself, then I don't know what will. If you're lucky enough to rise up and do well, it is your duty, Dom, to
Send the elevator back down.
And if you happen to be going to Hawaii, then do film at the airport window.
Do film at the
airplane. Yeah, exactly. If you do, let Dom know, because he'll come along with you. Stephanie, Lynn, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Brendan, Lando, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
We will see you next Tuesday. As always, take care, everyone. Go out there, make your films, be inspired. Thanks, Dom.
Thanks, Giles.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye. Thank you.